Hey, good afternoon. John Clements here. It's Saturday, May 16th, 2020. Probably it's a nice day, probably not too many inside or looking at Facebook. But in case you are, I'm at the UMass Orchard and a small block of some Gala here, Gala apples. And they're coming into bloom. I'll show you that in a minute. And part of the reason I'm doing this is we had a sudden change in the weather overnight. We're in bloom. We had some warm weather yesterday. It was almost 80 degrees. And despite some cool weather preceding that, we had a little heat yesterday. And finally, we had a pretty good squall line of straight line wind and rain blow through last night. So what does that spell? Well, that kind of spells that we maybe have a little bit of a Fireblight risk here. And with the open bloom, you have to keep checking the models. But the models were saying the risk was relatively low up until last night in the heat of the day yesterday. So both NUA and RimPro here at the UMass Orchard are predicting an infection event, that Fireblight infection has occurred. And if streptomycin was not applied to this open bloom preceding the rain last night, you still have time to do it. Now, this is particularly problematic if you had Fireblight before. If not, it's less of an issue. It's also in varieties such as this Gala. There they are. I'll turn the camera in a minute. These Gala that are susceptible to Fireblight. Let me turn the camera and you can see the bloom here. This is a tall spindle block. And these trees are about 8 years old, I think. And the bloom isn't really heavy, but it's kind of nice. I'm kind of liking the way it looks. I think these Gala should be pretty easy to thin. But you can see they're pretty much coming into bloom. It opened bloom yesterday, opened bloom last night. And if there was any Fireblight bacteria building up in the orchard here, we had plenty of wind and rain last night to spread it around. Now the models kind of say that, the infection is kind of occurring or has occurred or maybe will, with a couple more warm days. It's in the mid 70s now. A couple warm days, the inoculum will build up further, and then it's supposed to have some rain tomorrow evening, late tomorrow. So I think if you haven't applied streptomycin, and a lot of people use Harbor or agromycin, you still have a chance to do it. I'd wait till the wind dies down a bit. But maybe this evening. Generally it should be applied, the streptomycin, within 24 hours of the infection event or the rain or whatever. It was almost a trauma last night. Boy, the wind really blew here. Where's my train of thought going? But you can see there's a lot of blossom open. So you still got a little time if you didn't do it. Gala, stuff that's susceptible to Fireblight, younger trees, tall spindle blocks like this. The rate for streptomycin, Harbor, or agromycin is, I'd start at 16 ounces an acre. You can go up from there, but for this size tree, 16 ounces an acre should be plenty. And like I said, the window will be closing rapidly by this evening, but I think there will be a window to put strep on if you haven't already done that. It's always a good idea to put some Regulate or other surfactant in with the streptomycin spray, help spread it around. I got some trees marked here that I'm going to be doing a precision thinning experiment in. So hopefully we'll get some set. There's a few bees flying around today, but it's kind of breezy. It's pretty typical the way it's been lately. We get a lot of wind out of the north and west. It'll calm down this evening. What did I miss? Minimum 12 ounces per acre. Yeah, I said 16. No Regulate minimum. Why no Regulate? I thought we used Regulate in the streptomycin spray. I'm going to turn the camera around here, but I can't see it very well. There we go. Anyways, get your strep on if you need to. You know, across Massachusetts, the risk level varies, but in warmer locations, certainly there's a reason to put it on. That's all I got to say. It's pretty quiet out in the peanut gallery there, but that's all right. I can barely see my screen. The sun is so strong. Win Cogill says, if no Regulate, increase to 24 ounces. Yeah, that's probably good advice. Not everybody has Regulate on hand. I wished all my trees kind of looked like this, kind of a nice moderate level of bloom. Should be relatively easy to get some fruit growth measurements and work on these trees once we get some fruit set. Right, Andre? Yep. If you don't use Regulate, increase strep rate. That makes sense. Like I said, with a regulator or surfactant, I'd start at 16 ounces an acre on these trees. Take your sunglasses. I can't take my sunglasses off. These are my progressive lenses. And if I take them off, I can't see a darn thing when slowly going blind. And I need a haircut. All right, flip her around here. I'm going to sign off, make this relatively quick and short, but and this all is kind of interesting because preceding yesterday had been so cool, the Fireblight risk seemed minimal, but that's why you have to check the models daily or a couple times a day because it just changed overnight with the warm temperatures we had yesterday and then that squall line moving through last night. All right, I'm going to sign off because I got some things to do here. Good luck out there, and hopefully you get your strep on if you need it, and we won't have any Fireblight this year, please. All right, bye-bye.